behind me are the 16 playoff drivers who are going to compete for a NASCAR championship this year. I'm going to pick who I think is going to win the championship. Round by round, we're going to dive into it with the playoff board as these 16 drivers go green in the NASCAR playoffs on Sunday. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Cameron Simpson. Happy Friday, happy Labor Day weekend to everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, because all 16 of these NASCAR drivers are going to be heading green on a brand new NASCAR season, basically, because it's the playoffs and it's totally new. It's brand new, and sure, points in the regular season carry on, but it's going to be a new game, a new animal, and you have to be ready to go. Let's remind everybody where the playoff grid stands right now. To the left, these are the 16 drivers in order of where they stand going into the round of 16. Chase Elliott, he's got himself a pretty big gap over Joey Logano, and so on and so forth, as you can see some of these drivers on the bottom as well. But Chase Elliott, he's got a pretty big lead. He's got a nice lead, nice cushion over the next guy, Joey Logano. But those are your point standings as they stand right now. Behind me, though, points don't matter. It's gut feelings, stats, all of that, because 3 rounds, the playoffs are completely different this year with different tracks and all of that. Sorry, going over here because I can't even remember all of the tracks and what they are. So these are your playoff tracks this year. Darlington starts us off with the Southern 500, then Kansas and Bristol. Then we go to Texas, Talladega, and Charlotte in the second round. The round of 8, we go to Las Vegas, Homestead, Miami Speedway, which I'm glad to see it back, and Martinsville, and we end the season in Phoenix. Those are a big variety of tracks in the next 10 weeks for a big variety of a season. So, all right, without further ado, let me get out of the chair, let me get back here, and let's do it. Let's find out who's going to win the championship. Alrighty. All right, as you can see, we have our playoff drivers all right here on the right side. Well, my right, your left of the board. I'm just trying to adjust the camera angle for this. All right, let's start by putting some drivers in that I think are basic guarantees to make it to the next round. I'm going to start with Denny. I think Denny will make it. I think Logano will make it. I think Larson will make it. Bell, guys, he is a sneaky player for these playoffs. I'm going to mark him in. I do think Chastain will make it into the next round. He's there. I'm going to leave Harvick. I'm going to leave Reddick. I'm going to put Chase Elliott on to the next round. I'm going to leave Bowman. Going to leave the 14. I think Kyle has enough experience to make it there. I'm going to move Harvick over as well. I think I'm going to move Reddick too. Let's see. Who else can we move over that I think can do it? I think Blaney has enough speed. Okay, 2 more drivers making it through. So here's my reasoning for keeping these guys here in this situation right now. Is simply because I don't know how they will fare in the playoffs and in this situation. Let's start driver by driver here. 2 of Austin Cindric. Sure, he won the Daytona 500, but what have we seen speed-wise from him since that Daytona 500 win? And that's really just speed at the road course as well. There is no road courses on this part of the schedule, and his stats do not fare well. I'm going to have to leave him up here. When we head to another driver like Austin Dillon, kind of the same situation. He's got that lucky win at Daytona to lock himself in. Besides that, stats this year on this track and stuff like that is not fared well for him. I'm going to have to leave him as an elimination. Here's where it gets tough. Daniel Suarez has had a really great season, kind of a breakout year for him. He won, it was on a road course, but he showed speed at other tracks. I put a Trackhouse teammate in because I think Chastain showed a little more speed and a little more variety of tracks. NASCAR's Amigo I don't think is going to make it through to the next round. I just think he doesn't got it as of late. Trends as of late don't show to favor the 99. Now we get into guys where I'm not sure yet. These three drivers, the 14, the 24, and the 48. Who's heard of Alex Bowman as of recently? I mean, I'm being serious. How many of you have heard of Alex Bowman as of recent? And the answer is not many of you. Maybe when his last win came in the beginning of the season. He has not proved much as of late. That's not saying that he doesn't have a fast car and we have 2 spots left into the round of 12. He is definitely a deserving guy. But as of late, does his stats prove that he can make it into the round of 12? But do these tracks, he is very good at all these tracks. Bristol is probably one of his weaker ones. Darlington, he ran very well last season, and he ran very well back here earlier in the spring, and he's pretty decent at Kansas. So, I mean, it's hard for me to say move him over to here with as of recently, but for Chase Briscoe, he has had a great season as well. He's shown great speed. He's shown enough speed where he'll be able to advance, I would think. Teammate Kevin Harvick coming alive enough where I'm guaranteeing him in. But for Chase Briscoe, I think when it comes down to it, in the moment and with it all, these 3 tracks, I looked at his stats. He's not very good at really any of these 3 tracks. Same with the 99, and really same with Ross Chastain. He's not really good at most of these racetracks. That's why I'm thinking I'm going to keep him right there for now. And William Byron, again, another one of those Hendrick guys we haven't heard about, but he does do very well at 1.5-mile racetracks. He does do good in the playoffs. So I'm going to move the 2 Hendrick guys over to the next round, and I'm going to have to keep the 14 up here with these 2 drivers. So the 2, the 3, the 99, and the 14 are my first round casualties. I'm sorry if those are any of your favorite drivers. All right, round of 12. We need to cut this field again. 4 more drivers need to go, and this is where it gets challenging. It gets hard here. The 8 I'm leaving on the board. The 4 I'm leaving. I'm going to put the 9 up to the round of 8. That, I think, is a guarantee. I'm going to leave the 1. Man, I'm going to leave the 20. We have a lot of debating to go on here. I'm going to put the 5. I think that's reasonable. The 5 does not want to go up on the board, but I think it's reasonable to leave the 5. I mean, he's had a good enough of a season. We saw what he can do with these race cars. Joe Logano, I'm going to leave him just because of consistency, but he's had a pretty good season. Hamlin, man, I'm going to move Hamlin over. I think I'm going to move... Harvick over. Oh, that's a tough one because Harvick's, as of recently, sure, 2 wins, but can he continue to advance? No. I don't think so. Can Ryan Blaney points-wise? I guess he can. I'm going to move Blaney over. I think I'm going to move Logano, too, if I'm moving Blaney, because Logano's had a better season than Blaney. Most people have, but Blaney can win. He can do points. Point-wise, he's one of the best drivers out there right now. Christopher Bell, here's my justification to move him to the round of 8. He has had a sneaky season. For some people calling him the sleeper to win the championship. I'm not going to go that far, but he has had a very sneaky good season. Good enough where I think he belongs in the round of 8. This leaves us with some real tough decisions. We have 2 veterans here, Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick, coming alive recently, 2 wins. Kyle Busch, 1 win on Bristol Dirt that was kind of handed to him in a streak as of late of not good finishes, terrible finishes. Good finishes, terrible finishes. I think Harvick's going to make it through. Okay, this leaves us with 1 more driver to make it through, guys, and let's go through them all. Again, we left with the 2 Hendrick guys that I talked about before, and one of them is going to have to go, I think. I don't think Chastain makes it through. Again, we've heard drivers talk about all the enemies that Chastain has. He has too many enemies to make it into the next round. I don't think Reddick will make it through to the next round either, just because I also think that he has just not the speed in that car to compete with these really top-notch drivers. Sure, he has all season, but this is a different animal. So it comes down to these three. My guy, Kyle Busch. Obviously, every bone in my body wants me to pick his 18 and bring it over to the round of 8. But when I look at the season that Kyle has had and that win kind of being handed to him and really not having the speed in his car, really not having much at all, it really tends to make me want to say, oh man, I really want to make Kyle Busch go to the next round. I really want him to. But I think he gets eliminated in the round of 12. I hate to say it. There's a lot of distractions on that 18 car. There's a lot going on that people are... it's tough. So it comes down to the Hendrick teammates and really who's had the better season. You can argue they've had identical seasons, but my decision here comes basically on the driver I think is better and has more experience, and that's Alex Bowman. So, man, I'm going to put Alex Bowman over here, and he'll beat out the 24. So these are my drivers that get eliminated in this round. Now the round 8, we're cut in half, and the other 4 make it into the Championship 4. Obviously, every one of these drivers could go to the Championship 4, but I'm just going to eliminate drivers. I'm going to eliminate 2 drivers off the bat that I don't think can, and that's the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Unfortunately for Blaney, I don't think he's able to advance into the round of 4. I think he's just not had the season and not being able to win. I don't see him being able to win these next 10 races, any of them. And I think to make it into the Final 4, you need to win one of these races. I don't think he can do it. Same deal with Kevin Harvick. Maybe he'll sneak a win, but he doesn't go to the Final 4, I don't think. Sure, you can't count Harvick out when it comes to these Final 8 because of how many appearances he's had, but I don't think he makes it through. Now let's put 2 people into the Championship 4. And I'm going to put 2 Hendrick teammates in. I'm going to put the 5 and the 9, 2 drivers that were there last year, 2 drivers that have had pretty good seasons and are good at all these tracks. Number 1, reason for putting the 5 car in, Homestead. Great way for him to get plenty of points in this round of 8. Reason for putting the 9 in, Martinsville. He runs good there all the time. He's a guy that can make it up in that mark. Now, do I think he will win there? Maybe not, but there's also other tracks that we've talked about in that situation. I'm just trying to pull up my track list. Because, again, don't have it memorized. Las Vegas, 1.5 miles. He did very well in Las Vegas, too, earlier in the spring. All right, now I'm going to eliminate another driver. That's going to have to be Alex Bowman. I mean, he's been on the bubble for both of these conversations, so I don't think he'll make it through this round. Finally, there's 2 spots left in the Championship 4. And I think it's going to come down... I think Joey Logano is going to make it to the Championship 4 this year. He's won a championship in the past. I'm trying not to be biased here. You guys know I don't like Joey. But I think he'll make it into the Championship 4. I think he's got enough speed to do it. He's got the car to do it. I'm not going to deny that. I think he's got the car to do it. And I think he's got the point situation to do it. JGR teammates right now is what the situation is. The 11 and the 20... I'm looking at Martinsville and looking at that 11, just as I was looking at that 9. But Vegas, I'm looking at Vegas and seeing how good Toyota ran in Vegas, and these 2 are teammates. I think who can ever win either Martinsville or I think it's going to be whoever wins Las Vegas out of these 2. I think it could be either one of them wins Las Vegas. I mean, we saw how fast Toyotas are at those tracks. I think Hamlin's going to get more wins than the 20, build himself a big point cushion. That's why I'm going to pick Hamlin to advance to the Championship 4. All right. This is our Championship 4. 3 champions, 1 unchampion. Well, I shouldn't say unchampion, but not a champion in Denny Hamlin. He's never won a championship, and he has himself in this great opportunity to win his first ever championship. But he's got stern competition. Each one of these Final 4 drivers that I'm predicting has had a great season, and I think will win multiple races in these playoffs. All right, it's time to tell you who I don't think will win the championship, and I'm going to put them right up here. Number 1, Joey Logano will not win the championship. I do not think Joey Logano will win this year's championship. Again, another one of my things. He has won, I think, 2 races that count. on short track at Gateway. Again, I think that was kind of a lucky win. Kyle struggled on the I count that, yes, but not totally on that. So I don't think Logano can win the championship. I also don't think Kyle Larson can win the championship this year. Obviously, yes, everyone's screaming at me. He won it last season. He won at Phoenix. What are you talking about? But I think really it comes down to his season this year. I know I've said that 100 times, but his season this year was definitely not on par to what his season was last year. The momentum he was carrying. And when we look at how he did in Phoenix this year, it shows us that he finished this year at this racetrack, regular season. Kyle Larson comes way down in the back. I'm still scrolling. I haven't seen him yet. Larson. Still haven't seen him yet. Kyle Larson finished 34th. He had an engine blow up. So I guess that is tough to compare because he had an engine issue. So we don't really know what to expect from him at this racetrack this time around. So like a guy like Joey Logano finished 8th at that race. A guy like Denny Hamlin, he finished 13th in that race. And Chase Elliott, well, Chase Elliott finished, where did my buddy Chase, he finished 11th. So Chase finished the best in that race. All these guys kind of weren't a big factor in that race. All right, it's time to pick my champion and who I think will win the NASCAR Cup Series championship this year. And it comes off of the wins, the drive, the motivation. And I know I'm probably putting myself out on a limb here, but I think he has choked it enough where he's finally going to win a championship. Denny Hamlin will win the NASCAR Cup Series championship this year. And that's my final prediction. Reasoning behind it is a gut feeling, just the way I think the playoffs will shape up, the wins, the point situation will get him to the Final Four. And we've seen him run well at Phoenix in the past. I think he'll be able to run well in Phoenix again. We'll see. But that's my board. So we have all of this action. I'll do a quick zoom in on the board here so you can kind of see what I have going on. But that is the playoff situation that I have right now. Tell me who you think will win the championship down below in the comments section. And until the next time, I'm Cameron Simpson. I got Hamlin winning it all. Who do you have? Peace out, everybody. I'll see you in the next one.